You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
It's the 105th episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, and we are going to talk about real live baseball games, which is so exciting. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Tyler.
Oh, he's Sam Dykstra. I'm Tyler Mon. It's a minor league baseball podcast, the Show Before the Show from MILB.com. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been fun to actually see results come in. Some surprising, some not surprising, in good and bad ways. Yeah, so it's I'm really excited just to kind of be in it now. You know, enough talking, enough trying to project, enough predictions, enough all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think last week's podcast went really well. I'm very happy with it. I know Kelsey and Josh were very happy with it. They were happy to be on and give their thoughts on how the season's going to go. But now we actually get to talk about what's happening and they're games that matter. We're not just talking about spring training stats and adding caveats of, well, we'll have to see what happens when the games start matter. Now they matter.
They actually matter. The only thing that we missed out on last week was Josh Jackson and I doing a duet of Dracula's Lament from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is basically all we did while we were in Phoenix together covering spring training. But yeah, man, one of my most hated cliches in all of sports is during the NFL's training camp, toward the end of camp, there's always the requisite discussion of like really excited to go out and hit somebody who's wearing a different colored jersey. But I get the sentiment behind that, where it's like you talk about the preparation for a season for so long that it's just finally exciting to go out and do something that's actually competitive. So I guess what I'm saying is it's my most hated cliche, and I'm pretty much using it now. So there we go.
Isn't that always the way?
Very excited about that.
Cliches for a reason.
Exactly. So, hey, it is episode number 105, the Show Before the Show, and we're going to get started talking about the 2017 minor league baseball season's opening week. But before we do so, wherever you found us, thanks for tuning in to the Show Before the Show. We are on iTunes. We are on the Stitcher app. We are at MILB.com/podcast. You can find us in all of those places. We got a lot of exciting stuff on the site through the podcast, through MILB TV, all kinds of different stuff. We have a new news format on the site in case you have not checked out a story yet at MILB.com since we started the season. And if that's the case, what are you doing with your life? But we got a great new look for the site. We also now have MILB.TV available for Android devices this year, which is very exciting. People have been clamoring for that. That is available now. We got a lot of good stuff that's been rolling out as of recent weeks.
Yeah, I think that Android news is my favorite thing that we've rolled out so far, just because the amount of tweets we used to get about it in terms of, when is it going to come on Android? I mean, that's not my department. It's not your department, Tyler. It's not like we were individually feeling the pressure. I know, the guys who do that kind of stuff, or the people who do that kind of stuff, we're trying to make it happen as best we could. I'm glad we got it out for opening day. I know there are a lot of people out there who use, tablets or their phones or whatever. They download the First Pitch app through Android, through the Google Store. And now they get a chance to watch MILB.TV. Now you guys, if you have those devices and that was holding you back before, the gate's wide open now. You get to watch the same stuff we do. So many games, we'll do our MILB.TV segment at the end like we always do, previewing what's to come this weekend. But, the fact that gate is now open to so many more people is very exciting, because I think, that's an opportunity that definitely didn't exist 10 years ago to watch this many minor league games. And now that we're opening it up to even a bigger audience is a big step.
And when you download the First Pitch app, you can give us a rating and a review there as well. And that'll help minor league baseball fans all over the place discover the app and use it for their best and most exciting MILB needs of the 2017 season. So, with no further delay, we'll jump into Three Strikes for episode number 105 of the Show Before the Show podcast. We're a week in to the minor league season, and not a full week as of yet, but we're recording on Wednesday. That's 7 days. Tomorrow will be the 1 week anniversary of opening day. And we've got a lot to talk about. Hot starts, cold starts, surprising starts. We're going to start with the first of those categories. Sam, who are you most impressed by to get the 2017 season rolling?
Yeah, so this is the first week. It comes with a caveat of everything is in a small sample so far. But to kind of steal a line, I think it was from MLB.com's Mike Petriello. Somebody said, what are you doing analyzing the game right now? It's only been a week. What can we take away from this? He's like, well, listen, we can try to understand what's happened, and there's nothing wrong with that. Trying to project it out, okay, we can't do that necessarily, but we can look at what is happening and kind of take some things from that for sure. Otherwise, what are we doing? But also, what are we supposed to do? Sit in our hands for 6 weeks? Like, that's not our job. Our job is to look at what is happening in games, determine what it means, and kind of, add all the caveats to it, take all the grains of salt that we need to. So in terms of just hot starts, this week's tool shed for Wednesday, anyways, it's already out on the site if you want to see it. I looked at some of the hot starts, some of the cold starts, tried to add the necessary tweaks, who's starting out hot, but it could be kind of soft, or who's starting out cold, but it could get better, that kind of stuff. But one guy who stood out to me in terms of a hot start that looks like it's sustainable in some sort of way is Francisco Mejia. Now, when we're talking about Mejia, immediately your mind goes to the 50-game hitting streak last year. That's where he made his name. That's where he became national news. So it might please you to know that he does have hits in each of his first 5 games. He's got a 5-game hitting streak, only at 10% of the way from that long run last year, but it's still something. But he has multiple hits in 3 of those 5 games. And what's most important to me is that he's got 8 hits, so he's 8 for 18. That's a 444 average. That's not sustainable. Nobody's saying he's a 444 hitter over a full season. But 5 of his 8 hits have been doubles. Now, Mejia's not a big power guy. His career high for home runs is 11, which is what he set last year between Class A and Class A Advanced. So we're not thinking of him as a guy aiming for the fences. But if he's making consistent hard contact to the gaps and getting these doubles this early, I mean, that's huge. That means, that his offensive potential is carried forward. Now, he's going to be tested against Double-A arms. He's at Double-A Akron right now. You're going to go up against major league quality pitching there at times. Once the scouting report gets out, he starts seeing some of these guys for the second time. He's going to get figured out. How is he going to adjust back? That's what we all have to figure out. But if he's coming out of the gate, hitting this well, hitting this hard, this well, that's a really good harbinger for the future. Now, it goes beyond just the bat with Mejia. Maybe the first thing you knew was the 50-game hitting streak, but if you ever studied his scouting report, you know that he also has an incredible arm. Threw out 30 of 69 attempted base stealers last year. That's a little under 50%, which is quite good for a catcher. That's a plus arm, if not a plus arm. He has caught all 3 attempted base stealers who have tried to go against him so far this year with Akron. Nobody successfully stolen against him through his 4 games behind the plate. He had 1 game at DH, so that's 4 games behind the plate, 1 at DH. So in terms of, with Mejia, what were we going to look forward out of him to see if 2016 was a mirage? Is he going to hit? Is he going to make good contact, good hard contact? And is the arm still there against, Double-A position players who are a little more experienced in terms of when to steal, who to go against, that kind of thing? He's checking all the boxes right now. Now, struggles, like I said, are probably going to come at some point. None of this is necessarily sustainable in terms of the balls he's putting in play. But if I'm an Indians fan, I know Mejia's on the 40-man roster. Given that he's on Double-A, maybe we're looking at a second half promotion for him to AAA Columbus. Maybe we're looking at even at a call up to Cleveland at some point this year. It's really encouraging what he is doing. So take it all the grains of salt, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to be excited either.
I like that phrase. Take it with the grains of salt, but it doesn't mean you're not allowed to be excited either. It's something good for all of us in life.
Yeah, because I think like so much we talk about the beginning of the season, it's usually I feel like it becomes much more negative. Like somebody gets hot, it's like, oh, that's not going to last.
Yeah, that's true.
You're allowed to say that's not going to last, but you're also allowed to enjoy it. you're also allowed to look at something and say, listen, this is a really cool thing that's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to be excited about it. I know it's not going to continue over a longer period of time, but given that it is happening now, let's enjoy it for what it is. So,
and plus, are we supposed to wait until 6 weeks into the season before we talk about baseball? Like, is that what we're supposed to do for like the Randy Quaids from Major League 2 out there who are like, it's not going to last, doesn't matter, this is stupid.
Right.
You know?
So,
let us have this.
Yeah, you can both enjoy what is happening, know that it's not going to continue, and have both in both hands. That's perfectly fine. Exactly. So, I just want to get all those caveats out now, that if you're reading a story we do on the site, we note somebody did really well on a given night. We know that's just one night, but that's what we do. We cover the game on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of our view. Sometimes some of these, we'll get to this later. Sometimes we'll see things that we can project forward, and we'll try to tell you when we do see that. But it's possible to take the macro and the micro view in this sense.
By the way, coming up on this week's edition of the Show Before the Show podcast is a guy who could slot into this discussion as one of the hot starts in minor league baseball. The 7th-ranked prospect in the Texas Rangers organization, Jose Trevino, will join us, the 2016 Rangers Minor League Player of the Year and the top catcher on the roster of the Double-A Frisco RoughRiders. But I'm going to go one step up the ladder to Triple-A and the Pacific Coast League, and a guy I got a chance to write about last night in the New York Mets first base prospect, Dominic Smith, who, friend of the podcast, if you want to go back and find it, he was episode number 48, was Dom Smith. But through the start of his season with Las Vegas, 6 games in now, Dominic Smith, 11 for his first 25, 3 doubles, a homer, 4 runs batted in. Yesterday, 4 hits. He went 4 for 6 in a 21-6 beatdown of Fresno in the Las Vegas 51's home opener. But the thing I like about it, when we had Dominic Smith on the podcast for episode number 48, which was a whole long time ago, that was all the way back in March of 2016, one of the things that we discussed with him was, at some point you're going to start hitting for power. People know that with hitters, especially with high school hitters, power is often the last thing to come. And that season, it really came for Dom Smith. He hit 14 home runs last season. That was more than his entire minor league career going into last season. Drove in 91, and he's already started driving the ball with authority this season for Las Vegas, because out of his 11 hits, 4 are for extra bases. He's got the homer as of last night. Yes, the home run last night comes in Las Vegas. It's a hitter-friendly environment. Also came off of a position player because the 51s were already up 15-2, I believe, by the time Dom got to the plate for that one. But still, the fact, if I'm a Mets fan, the fact that he's hitting is encouraging, but the fact that he is still driving the ball is more encouraging. And maybe the most encouraging is the fact that Dominic Smith is doing this while being in what he considers to be the best shape of his life. He was drafted and he was listed at about 6'195" when he was drafted. Last year, there were reports that he was as high as 260 pounds, but this year came to camp slimmed down, felt like he was really in a good place physically going into the season, and it's really started to show for him. And it doesn't hurt the fact that, he's got so much talent around him in that lineup. The 51's Med Rosario, also a friend of the podcast, the top prospect in the Mets organization, was hitting in the 3-hole last night, and Dominic Smith was in the 4-hole. So it's a talented team. It's a very hitting-friendly environment in Las Vegas. But if I'm a Mets fan, I'm excited about that start. A guy who theoretically could be a contributor this year at the major league level for the New York Mets. So, strike 2 is the antithesis of strike 1 for this week's edition of 3 Strikes. Your most worrisome start or some noteworthy struggles for a prospect or prospects to start the season, Sam?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 guys to kind of fill this spot. They're both at AAA. Both had their struggles in 2016. So you kind of were wishing that they would get back on the horse this year and kind of answer some of our questions. They haven't yet. Again, a week early, they'll have plenty of time to do that. This could just be small sample, struggles that don't mean anything. It just means they had a bad week, or it could mean something a little bigger. I think that's the case in one of these, and I'll get to that guy second. But first is J.P. Crawford. I talked to him this spring about his struggles last year at AAA Lehigh Valley, where he hit 244 with a 647 OPS. He was saying he knew he was at the AAA level, really, really wanted to get to Philly as quick as he could. Said he was basically trying to hit 600, which we know is nearly impossible to do in a week, never mind a couple weeks strung together to force your way to the majors at a level you've never played at before. So he said he was forcing things a little bit. Phillies basically backed him up, said he got away from what made him good at the lower levels, which is a very good approach. A guy who's certainly willing to take his walks and take the ball wherever it's pitched. Not much power yet, but they expect him to grow into that, probably double-digit home runs as he gets older. So they seem to have that all figured out. Just get back to what you are, and you'll be fine. Today, he is 3 for 24, so that's a 125 average in his first 6 games. What's more worrisome to me about that is that he has struck out 9 times in those 24 at-bats and only walked once. So, for a guy who had such an advanced approach, who usually took walks, even last year at AAA Lehigh Valley, 59 strikeouts and 42 walks, so still not exactly even, but fairly close to that. To see that so out of whack in this first week, I don't want to say he didn't learn his lessons, because he said he's done that, and this spring I think he performed much better. I think the Phillies were pleased with how he performed in spring training. So this could just be early struggles, trying to get out of the gate. But, for a guy who you wanted to so badly hit like 300 or 400 this first week, just so we'd stop talking about his lack of hitting at the AAA level, to have that still hanging there, I won't say worrisome quite yet, but it's discouraging at the very least. So we'll have to see if he can turn that around or if this becomes a longer-term thing. The second guy is Lucas Giolito. It's tougher to talk about pitchers in this kind of instance because they only get one start. Like Crawford, at least he had 6 games. You have one bad game, all right, you come back out tomorrow, maybe you try to get a couple of hits there, erase the problems. Giolito, he's only had 1 start this year. It was a rough one. He gave up 5 runs. 4 of them were earned on 6 hits. He actually hit 3 batters and issued 2 walks over 4 1/3 innings. So 5 batters reached kind of on his own. We're not even talking about balls in play. We're talking about 5 guys he put on himself in 4 1/3 innings in his White Sox organizational debut at AAA Charlotte. What makes it especially worrisome is that based on the MILB.TV gun, which I think is the stadium gun, he was only thrown in the lower 90s. Normally that's okay, but for Giolito, his bread and butter when he was in the national system last year, I would say, was that he could hit mid-90s easily, upper 90s when he needed to, could even hit triple digits. Now if he's only sitting 91, 93, okay, now he's becoming less effective. And if that control isn't even there, then we're talking about him being even more worrisome. That hammer curve is always something he's going to have in his back pocket, but without the velocity, he becomes a significantly less exciting pitcher. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Maybe he's still building up to it earlier in the year. He can add velocity as he's going along, as he kind of finds his strength. But again, for a guy who really struggled at the major league level last year, new organization, new system, new team, they would work on him in the spring, new preparations, all that kind of stuff. Again, we're just left with more questions than answers for Lucas Giolito entering his second start and third start, and as we go down deeper into April.
Yeah, it's that is going to be a storyline that I'm really interested to follow, and I think everybody's going to be really interested to follow this year, especially because it looked like that trade was such a coup when the White Sox pulled it off. But if Giolito doesn't come through in the way Chicago was hoping, then it's an entirely different looking deal. Now, that's certainly not to say that this is decided by any stretch, and Lucas Giolito is still very young, and so at some point it's going to turn around, at least to some degree, but the last year plus have been a little bit concerning in that regard. But speaking of young and struggling at that level, that's where my guy is. Austin Meadows in the Indianapolis Indians and the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, and MLB.com's 7th-ranked prospect overall coming into the 2017 season. Today was an okay day. Got a couple of hits today as we're recording this on Wednesday, but to start the season in Indianapolis, 2 hits in his first 21 at-bats, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks over that span, an .048 average, a 167 on-base percentage, and a slugging percentage of .095. And again, 6 games, yes, all the same caveats. But what is a little bit concerning about this from the Pirates' perspective and from the Pirates fans' perspective is that Austin Meadows had 37 games of experience at AAA last year. He batted .214, .297, .460. Not great numbers there. He did hit 6 home runs, which strangely matched his Double-A total in 4 45 games with Double-A Altoona last year, and he actually drove in one more run, 24-23 versus his time in Altoona. But this is a guy who's seen this level before, so you would expect maybe he'd be able to get in a little bit ahead of the curve in his second tour through the International League. But the biggest thing to remember in this circumstance is Austin Meadows is way ahead of the curve for a 21-year-old as it is. This is a first-round pick 3 years ago out of high school. So this isn't a situation 4 years ago now. He was a 2013 pick. But this isn't a situation where you're looking at a guy who's kind of on the bubble and you're thinking, man, if he can't get it figured out in AAA right now, then where does he go? There's still a whole lot of time for Austin Meadows to get it figured out. But coming out of a spring training that seemed like it was pretty productive and going into this season with some experience at AAA already, sort of expected a hotter start than where he is right now. A lot of time and a lot of stuff to get figured out for Austin Meadows, but a rough first week back in the International League for him.
Yeah, the one good thing about Meadows' situation too is that the Pirates didn't trade Andrew McCutchen, so they don't have a big gaping hole in their outfield right now. Assuming McCutchen at least performs closer to his normal self than he was in 2016. So as much as they want to push Meadows and being a top 10 prospect, you want to see him show it on the highest level possible. They are not in any rush to get him there. If he's going to struggle now, that's okay. Get it figured out before it becomes an even bigger struggle, in the majors when they really need him. So, this could have been a situation where everybody in Pittsburgh is like, okay, we traded McCutchen. Now Meadows, he needs to get hot super quick and we'll bring him up by May. It's like, no, that's not what, that's not the timeline we're in now. It's not the universe we're in. So even if he does this through April, nobody's really going to be jumping off the ship quite yet. He hasn't quite made contact to the level that I would hope he would in terms of strikeouts.
Yeah, that's one of the real concerning things.
Right. It's kind of the same boat as J.P. Crawford. Entering today, he had struck out 9 times in 21 at-bats. He's never really been a guy to strike out that much, except for what he's done even last year at the AAA level. He struck out, I think, over 20% of the time. So it's starting to become a problem at the minors' highest level, but more time, more acclimation, all of that's kind of needed with Austin Meadows, and that's perfectly fine. If he's going to struggle, let him get it out in April. They'll hope to add him in the second half, and at that point, he's kind of figured all this kind of stuff out, figure out his approach, and we'll go from there. So if you're a Pirates fan, yes, it might be a little worrisome now, but better now than July.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind throughout all of this. Is we live in a football world where everything is judged on a timeline of how it would affect people in the sport of football. And so I think that, coupled with the fact that, nobody has an attention span anymore and everything is social media based, tends to lead us all to want to make grand proclamations about baseball players, especially in their developmental stages, so early on and with such a small ledger, such a small resume for guys to really go off of. So back off the ledge if you're a Pirates fan. Austin Meadows is more than likely going to be fine. It's just these are the road bumps that come up in a guy's track to the major leagues. These are the things that you have to conquer in order to be productive big league players. So keep it all in mind. Same thing goes for Lucas Giolito. Same thing goes for all these guys that are struggling to start the 2017 season. And strike 3, Sam, good or bad, what have the biggest surprises been for you to start the 2017 campaign?
Yeah, let's just stick with good. I think good is a good thing.
It's always good. Good is good.
It's more fun to talk about positivity, isn't it? I think. Sure. I'm going to stick with one guy just because his numbers have been absolutely insane. He's forced me to pay attention when I otherwise probably wouldn't have. Is Orioles number 19 prospect Cedric Mullins. He was a 13th round pick back in 2015, coming out of Campbell, which is actually, I believe, isn't that where Bowie's Creek is?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so
the Campbell fighting camels.
Yeah, I think at one point somebody called them the flying camels, which would just be a lot more fun in terms of logo than a fighting camel.
That's true.
But anyway, so Cedric Mullins, he was a college pick back in 2015. Last year, he played the entire season, his first full season at Class A Delmarva, hit 273 with a 785 OPS. Had, I think, 61 extra base hits in 124 games. So pretty good. 30 stolen bases. That's probably his best tool is his speed. But not a guy I would necessarily be on my radar. If he's number 19 in the Orioles system, it's not a great Orioles system as things kind of stand right now. Could just be an organizational guy. His speed might get him to the majors, that kind of thing. What he's done, they bumped him straight from Class A to Double-A Bowie, and he is 16 for 31 through his first 7 games. That's a 5.16 average. Same things I said about Mejia. This isn't just all singles. This is, he's got 3 homers, a triple, and 3 doubles. So 7 of his hits have gone for extra bases. He's gotten 1 stolen base, so that quite hasn't shown up just yet. But for a guy who jumped straight over the Class A advanced level, he's 22, so it's not exactly that aggressive to see a college guy jump to Double-A in his second full season. But he's only 5'8", kind of a diminutive outfielder. To be showing this type of pop, this type of extra base hit ability, I don't know what I want to quite call that outside. I don't want to quite call it power, because I don't think he necessarily has booming power. He hit 14 homers last year. 3 in 7 games is great. I don't think that's necessarily sustainable for him, but with what he is doing, he is forcing us to pay attention. And in this first week, when you are a prospect like him, I mean, that is all you can do. You get off to these hot starts, you make us pay attention, and then that kind of drags on for a little bit. I remember last year that guy was Austin Allen in the Padres system. Got off to just a roaring start in April and really tapered off after that. Still a pretty good offensive catcher in his own right. He started out last year at Class A Fort Wayne and had that kind of carry on. And I think he's a little bit more on my radar than he would have been otherwise, just because he got off to that hot start. So let's see what's going to happen with Mullins. Again, same thing I said about Mejia. Double-A arms are much better than they are at the lower level. That jump from high A to Double-A is pretty significant. Never mind, this guy jumps from full season A to Double-A. So Double-A pitchers are going to start to figure him out at some point. What is he going to do to adjust back to that is going to be the determining factor. But I'm sure the Orioles are excited by what he's doing. If he can become just an average hitter with that speed, he'll probably be looking at a 4th or 5th outfielder role in the majors. And this is how you get yourself on the radar, is with these hot stretches. So good for Mullins. We'll have to pay attention to him a little bit more than we would have otherwise.
I'm going to go to the Toronto Blue Jays organization for mine, and I think this is sort of a quote-unquote surprise player if you haven't really been aware of just how good things have started to go for him over the last couple of years, and that's Anthony Alford, the outfielder who is with the New Hampshire Fisher Cats in Double-A this season in the Blue Jays organization. Anthony Alford's story is a pretty well-known one. He was taken out of high school with a 3rd-round pick back in 2012, but was a 2-sport athlete at the time. He was at one time with Southern Miss and with Ole Miss playing college football, and then decided back in October of 2014 that he was going to go baseball full-time. Told the Blue Jays that, and the Blue Jays decided, let's get this guy a crash course, get him as many at-bats and as many innings as possible. He went to the Australian Baseball League that offseason. He went to the Arizona Fall League last offseason. He's played full seasons in between. In 2015, he was with Dunedin at the Class A advanced level and with Lansing at the Class A level. He played 107 combined games. Last year, 92 games with Dunedin back at the Class A advanced level. Missed some time due to an injury, but goes off to the AFL, a successful stint there, and he has blown up to start this season. Last year, dislocated his kneecap, I believe was the injury back in April, and missed the majority of the opening month and never really got back to where he was in 2015. He only batted .236 with a 722 OPS compared with a combined number of .298 and .820 in 2015. But this year, it's only 5 games, but Anthony Alford is batting .625, 700, .625. He's got 10 hits so far through his first 16 at-bats. They're all singles, but he's the type of guy with the athleticism and the ability to barrel the ball. He's going to hit for extra bases eventually anyway. Not a power threat, but he's a guy who can play all 3 outfield spots and is just a very, very talented, instinctive, toolsy type of ball player. There is still somewhat of a learning curve for Anthony Alford where he is right now, but he's pretty well on track at this stage in his career, 22 years old, being in Double-A and being a guy who had to make up for some lost time, having only played 11 combined games in his first 2 professional seasons, and then only 14 in his third. This is a guy now who is really turning himself into a legitimate name to watch, to make an impact at the major league level relatively soon. For a long time, it was Anthony Alford can be really good. Is he going to be able to put it all together in a baseball sense to make up for the time that he lost developmentally while he was still playing football, etc.? Now, I think you put all that behind you when you come to evaluating Anthony Alford, and it's what are the steps that he needs to take to get to Buffalo and eventually to Toronto. If he hits 625, I can't imagine he's going to be in New Hampshire for long. But again, it's his first test at Double-A. When teams are evaluating how to pitch to new guys at a new level, he's seeing a lot of pitches to hit early. So there is going to be, presumably, a valley for this peak eventually, and it likely comes in pretty short order as it does with prospects when they get to those upper levels in the minors. But the adjustment and the ability to rebound to that's going to be the most crucial thing for Anthony Alford. And if he proves that he can do that and he can handle it, Buffalo awaits, and then Toronto is the next step.
Yeah, and there are two things I kind of want to add about Alford in terms of just this hot start. I think one to his credit and one to kind of take away. The first one is, as you mentioned, Tyler, all of his hits so far have been singles, which is great. That means they're finding holes, that whole thing. A hit is a hit is a hit. You would like to see that be, you'd like to see him make a little harder contact, find the gaps a little bit more, if you think that's going to be kind of sustainable. But to his credit, and to my second point here, I think two of those hits are infield hits, which makes you think like, okay, he kind of got lucky, whatever. But Anthony Alford has plus speed. He is going to steal some hits.
Right. And that's a valuable asset, because I think people look at that and think like, oh, he's really not hitting the ball that hard. Yeah, so does Ichiro sometimes, doesn't hit the ball that hard, but he's been stealing singles forever, and nobody knocks him for that. I think that's an asset versus being a liability. He's got to cut down on strikeouts. Last year he struck out 117 times in 92 games, but he started to do that this year as well. Only 3 strikeouts in his first 5 games. So yeah, there are things that look like question marks that I think actually are positives for him.
Yeah, you can't, yes, he should be hitting for a little extra pop, but nobody doubts that will come at some point. But don't take away an infield hit from him just because, we talk so much now in this era of StatCast about exit velocity, and we try to evaluate based on that. But if you can get to first base just based on your speed, take it. That is a good thing, and that is certainly something that Anthony Alford has always had in his back pocket. Now that he's fully healthy, like Tyler mentioned, he was not playing this time last year. He got injured in that first game. So to see him out there healthy, competing and thriving is just huge, and hugely exciting for us, hugely exciting for everybody in the Blue Jays system, us that we get to watch it, the Blue Jays that, could potentially be a part of the big league team at some point this season. So yeah, that he's going to be so much fun to watch, I think, with that Double-A New Hampshire team that has a lot of talent outright, but he's definitely been the standout so far.
So those are our 3 strikes for episode number 105 of the Show Before the Show podcast. And coming up, we are going to head to the Texas League and a conversation. Catchers are always the most interesting conversations, or some of the most interesting conversations. I don't want to impugn the other 8 guys on the field, but catchers are always their own breed. Intellectual guys, talkative guys in a lot of cases. And Jose Trevino did not disappoint. And you will hear from the 7th-ranked prospect in the Texas Rangers organization on the bus to Springfield, which sounds like the title to a blues album, but it's actually not. That's where he really is. And we'll talk to Jose Trevino next. Well, we are headed to the Texas League for the first episode of the 2017 regular season in minor league baseball, and that is where we find the 7th-ranked Texas Rangers prospect catcher Jose Trevino, who joins us from the bus as the Frisco RoughRiders head to Springfield. It's on the Cardinals. Jose, welcome. You're our first bus guest, man. This is exciting.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, let's talk about that first. We got to get the actual breakdown of what the bus life is like, because we've talked about it before on the show. Some of us have had experience in that dynamic, but for people who are tuned in and want to know what this is like, you guys an off day today. It's actually a league-wide off day. Recording this on Wednesday, the 12th. So you're taking a daytime trip to Springfield. So give us, when you get on the bus. I mean, where are you sitting on the bus? What's the layout of the bus for the RoughRiders?
I'm towards the front. Got pitchers in the middle at the tables. There's a couple guys with headphones, a couple guys laying on the floor, some yoga mats around. Mostly a lot of headphones, but there's TV's gonna be a little loud, but yeah, no, it's nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Definitely an upgrade though. TVs are definitely bigger on this bus, but my outlet doesn't work.
Oh, you have outlets? What? That's fantastic.
There's an outlet on the bus, so I gotta find one of the pitchers to let me use one of their outlets right now. So
I guess I got all excited that there were outlets, but I guess if it doesn't work, then it's not really doing you any good anyway.
Yeah, no, I picked the wrong seat.
Jose, what's your road trip routine? I mean, this is a different one since you guys are traveling during the day. Ordinarily, teams will leave, after a game, a day game on a Sunday, for example, or sometimes after night games, you'll hit the road. What's your routine? I mean, are you a guy who can sleep on the bus? Are you studying stuff on the bus? Are you reading? You listen to music? What do you do?
I'm doing it all. I'll sleep a little bit. I'll take like little naps here and there, but I'm either reading, listening to music, or some scouting report stuff if I think I need to look at some of the hitters or if I need to look at some of the pitchers or something like that. I mean, just get to talk to my teammates and getting to really know them off the field and talk about life, just not knowing them as a baseball player, knowing them as a person.
Well, let's get to some baseball stuff then, because it's obviously an exciting time of year, no matter where you are or what you're doing. But for you, a really good start so far with Double-A Frisco to get the 2017 Texas League season underway. 5 games in, Jose's batting .389, .450, .389, and .839 OPS. And to get started at this level, Jose, you've been making strides from level to level every season. You get drafted in 2014. You're in short season ball that year, full season ball in Class A in 2015. Last year in High A, this year in Double-A. So it's a very incremental progression, and it's been really good progression. How have you found the Double-A level to be so far?
It's good. Usually at the beginning of the year, it's just, focusing on my pitchers. I mean, it's always going to be like that for me, just focusing on my pitchers. What I do behind the plate is way more important than what I'm going to do at the plate hitting. But, I mean, getting to know some of the guys that didn't get attached to spring training. I think there's a couple guys on our team that I maybe caught once or twice, but a year ago, and just getting to know what they like to do and what their good pitches are and what they like to throw and stuff. So I think that's big.
Yeah, let's kind of go through that Frisco pitching staff. I talked yesterday to Connor Sadzek. He mentioned you working with you, just kind of trusting you, putting down the right fingers, that kind of stuff. But that Frisco rotation is just loaded in terms of guys between Mendez, Gerardo, like I said, Sedzek. How are you kind of working with this staff? I mean, what is your kind of scouting report on these guys as you're getting to learn them a little bit?
Just using their pitches, attacking hitters, and getting after them, getting ahead in the counts, trying to get ahead. I know it's kind of a slow start for all of us, but I'm sure we'll pick it up. But I know we have a bunch of great starters, a bunch of good names starting, but our bullpen, you can't forget about our bullpen. We got some good arms coming out of the bullpen for sure that can hold the lead.
Jose, you've got, like Sam said, a really talented group there and a bunch of guys who seemed like have the ability to go, deep into games, to get through really difficult lineups in the Texas League. But one of the things that's challenging about the Texas League, and it's something you haven't had to deal with yet, but you will coming up over the next couple of months, it's only an 8-team league, and so you see a lot of guys a lot of different times. You'll get really familiar with those lineups. As that starts going along, how do you manage that from the perspective of a pitching staff? Because you could have a guy who goes out and is facing the same lineup 3 times over the span of 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. I know I've got to talk to about it, but I mean, it's just experimenting, just going from, hey, well, this could work, could this work? This doesn't work with them. He sees this pitch well. He doesn't see this pitch well. It's just going back and forth, turns into a little chess match. That's all it really is. And you find hitters' weaknesses, you go and you attack them until they prove to you that they can hit it or that they can make an adjustment.
Who is, if there's a member of that staff that right now you're loving being able to learn and loving being able to work with, maybe somebody that you haven't gotten a chance to work with so far? Obviously, there's a whole lot of focus on Yoander Mendez since he's one of the top-ranked prospects in the organization. Who are you really enjoying getting those first few steps under your belt with?
James Dykstra and Sam Wolves. I haven't caught both of them that much. Everybody else I've caught quite a few times. I have an idea what they like to do, but those 2 guys, man, I keep an eye out for both of them, seriously. They got good arms. They have an idea what the ball's doing in their hands.
And Jose, one thing I wanted to kind of touch on with you personally was just your kind of transition to catcher. When you were drafted in 2014, you were a shortstop at Oral Roberts, had caught there as well. The Rangers take you, they move you to catcher, but you still get some time all over the infield. What was that draft process like for you? I mean, were scouts saying they wanted you at catcher, or were you getting looks at the infield? And how was that kind of translate?
I have no clue whose idea was to put me behind the plate, but I tell you what, I thank them every day. I'd thank them if I knew who they were every day. But it was a tough transition. Right now it looks like, it's been a straight line, but no, there's been some ups and downs to this stuff. I remember the days I couldn't block a baseball. I didn't want to block a baseball. I didn't want to get in front of a baseball. Like, it wasn't comprehending to me. Like, it didn't feel right. I remember the days like I couldn't get my footwork going and throwing a second and receiving baseballs. I remember those days. Those days were tough, but off season, man, the off season is where I get all my work in, and I prepare myself for these 140 games. I prepare like I'm going to catch 140 games and then some. That's not include the playoffs. So I think the off season was a really big help for me, and I took it my first full off, and I took it, and I said, you know what, if they want me to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to be the best at it. Be the best I can at it.
Jose, you mentioned footwork, and I know that's one of the things that scouts really rave about with you is the fact your arm is already good enough as it is, but your mechanics, your leadership ability, your receiving ability, in addition to that, you've got really good footwork. And those are some of the intricacies that as a catcher are the most difficult things to grasp and understand, and especially to develop. If you're talking to a young catcher, or if you were talking to yourself this time 5 years ago, what advice would you give for somebody who's trying to learn those little intricacies of that position?
That's a tough question. I would on the game calling end, find out what the hitters are doing, to have an idea what they want to do, what they're thinking. On the receiving end, make it look like a strike every time. Catch it, stick it, hold it there, let the umpire see it. It's not there. It's a ball, throw it back. Keep the balls as close to you when you're blocking. Let the ball get deep when you're transferring. Make an accurate throw. I don't care how hard it is. I give lessons in the offseason. So I tell kids this all the time. I go, I don't care if you throw a 1-5 and you throw it high, the guy's going to be safe. Give me a 1-9 on the bag every time, and I'll take that. Or 2-0 on the bag every time. Stuff like that. So I think with the throwing, it's all about accuracy, and the footwork is all about being quick and getting your body going.
When you were coming into pro ball, as Sam noted, you got experience at a bunch of different positions, and then you switched to being a backstop full-time, and the Rangers obviously realized they really had something in you that they liked. In January, you were extended a non-roster invitation to big league spring training, and getting a chance to be around the guys at that level, especially because of the fact that you kind of have to learn, in some cases 40, 50 different pitchers that you're not going to see maybe at all ever again in your career. What was that whole experience like, the learning curve of that, and getting a chance to be around and really soak up that knowledge in spring training?
It was unbelievable. It was awesome. Seriously. I took full advantage of it. I know I did. I walked out of that locker room saying, like, man, yeah, that was fun. I know, like, I can watch a big league game now and say, like, okay, I know what he likes to throw. I know what he likes to throw. I know what his best pitch is and what he likes to do with two strikes and everything like that. I just didn't go in there and just try to remember everything. I wrote stuff down. I took notes. I didn't just try to remember it. I wrote it down that way. When the time does come, I can look back on that and be like, okay, I remember this. Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Jose, we've done a lot of talking about like working with staffs and working with defensive work and all that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of touch on just offensively. You were over a 300 hitter last year, but scouting reports say it's going to be the defensive work that gets you to the majors when that does happen. But what do you think you need to do offensively? What kind of work are you putting in to kind of round out, your whole profile to kind of take that next step offensively?
It's simple. It really is. It falls up the middle. There's a lot of area. I had a college coach tell me, hey, there's a lot of room up the middle, a lot of green up the middle, it's inside react to it, outside shoot it the other way. You got two strikes on you, see something up, drive it the other way. Sweet. See ball, hit ball. Basically, that's what it is for me. And there's a run on second, less than 2 outs. Shoot over the right side, get the guy over to third, let your teammate bring him in. Get second and third with less than 2 outs. Hit a pop fly to center, hit a pop fly to left. Get that run in. It's just being productive on the offensive side. It's not just like, okay, we need to get a hit here. No, there's other ways to do that without getting a hit. So, and I think that's the thing that I pride myself on. Like, I get down 2 strikes with somebody, run on second, left 2 outs. Hey, I'm not worried. Like, I can still do a job here without getting a hit, and then that leads to winning ball game. So.
Jose, a couple more for you, and we'll get you out of here. But one that I have to ask you about, the RoughRiders staff this season, coaching staff-wise, is led by manager Joe Mikulik. And Joe obviously has a very well-known reputation around minor league baseball. Inside the game...
Does he really? Does he really?
I know. You've never heard of it, right? It's crazy. Inside baseball, people know Joe Mikulik as being one of the nicest, most engaging, brightest human beings you could ever meet. Outside, for people who have only seen him on SportsCenter, he's a lunatic. He's throwing rosin bags like they're grenades, and he's kicking bases all over the place, and he's spiking water bottles. But that dichotomy is so fascinating about him. What's it like being around him? Because every time we talk to him, the nicest guy on earth, it's got to be really interesting.
He's an awesome man. He's a great man. Seriously, he really is. You could tell from the start he wants the best for everybody. He doesn't. I mean, he said it too. He's like, man, there's guys that I haven't met yet. I'm gonna get going. He's like, I'm gonna get to knowing y'all. He's like, I want the best. I hope all of y'all make it to the big leagues. He really cares. Really, really cares. All the coaching staff does.
By the way, I should clarify, it was actually Phil Wellman in the Braves organization who did the biting the rosin bag and throwing it like a grenade.
Yeah.
I don't want to misattribute the one of the greatest blow-ups of all time in minor league history, because that was a classic. But Jose, for you guys, I mean, now you get a chance to really get into the meat of this schedule, and I have to ask you this before we get you out of here. Being a guy who has had a chance to see what life is like in Frisco so far, now you're headed out on the road. You're going to take on Springfield in Springfield, but you had 3 games against Springfield at home to start the season, then Tulsa. So my question is this: at Dr. Pepper Ballpark, have you gotten a chance to try out the Lazy River yet?
I have not. No.
Are you going to at some point?
I know on one of my off days I will for sure be there. I'll probably go over there after a round of golf or something and probably hang out there, or maybe even before BP or something. But I definitely have to get into that thing. I know I heard it. I mean, it looks pretty sweet, but I heard it's heated too, so it doesn't matter if it's cold or hot.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's nice, yeah.
That is fantastic. It's just a relaxing day. Relaxing day on the Lazy River. You could probably shag for BP from out there on a day off, you know.
Yeah, just put my glove up.
Exactly.
Like, all right, guys, I'm sitting back here today.
He is Jose Trevino, the number 7 prospect in the Texas Rangers organization and the starting catcher for the Double-A Frisco RoughRiders in the Texas League. You could find Jose on Twitter. He is at Jose Trevino 5. And Jose, we love every chance we get to talk to you. It's been a ton of fun for us, and thanks a bunch for giving us some time on the bus. I know it's not the easiest of circumstances for an interview, but we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
That was the 2016 Texas Rangers Minor League Player of the Year, Jose Trevino. Again, you can find Jose on Twitter. He is at Jose Trevino 5, and we certainly wish him the best remainder of the road trip to Springfield, Missouri. Very exciting stuff. And we bring in our 2016 Player of the Year, Benjamin Hill. Hi, Ben.
I'm the player of every year.
Every year. Hi. I know. It's the Ben Hill Award, the Ben Hill Player of the Year Award, presented annually to Ben Hill.
Exactly. I mean, who else is going to get it?
Obviously. No, there's no comparison. Well, this is a fun week in Major League and Minor League Baseball, and a very cool day coming up on Saturday, as we do annually now throughout the world of baseball. Jackie Robinson Day in the Major Leagues. Every big leaguer will wear the number 42, the iconic number retired by Major League Baseball in 1997, as the forever tribute to Jackie Robinson. And the minor leagues will be taking their own tact toward honoring Jackie Robinson this weekend coming up as well. And there is a really interesting promo going on in Daytona, where the Class A Advanced Daytona Tortugas, the high A affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, will be doing their own tribute to Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. The Tortugas there in Daytona are a special team in the Florida State League because they're the only team in the Florida State League who play in a ballpark that is just theirs. It's not a spring training facility. And that's an old ballpark. And it's named Jackie Robinson Ballpark. And the reason it's named Jackie Robinson Ballpark is because Jackie Robinson spent his first spring training there in 1946 after signing with the Brooklyn Dodgers organization. And one of the reasons he spent 1946 spring training in Daytona is because other Florida cities would not alter their existing Jim Crow laws and refused to let him play. So the city commissioners in Daytona let Jackie Robinson play, let him play the first integrated games in the state. And during that 1946 spring training, he did not wear the number 42 that he is forever associated with, he wore number 9. So now let's bring it to the present day. This Saturday, Jackie Robinson Day, the Daytona Tortugas are wearing Brooklyn-themed number 9 jerseys in honor of Jackie Robinson's time with the team in 1946.
By the way,
very cool.
Jackie Robinson, I just want to, after that initial spring training, he went out and played for Montreal, the Montreal Royals in the International League. And that year in 124 games, Jackie Robinson batted .349, .468, .462 over 124 games for Montreal, and obviously broke into the major leagues in 1947, and the rest is history. But that's really cool, especially a team that doesn't have a connection directly to Jackie Robinson, and that they're not a Dodgers affiliate. The Tortugas were not around. Jackie Robinson didn't play for the Tortugas, but it's really cool to see they're embracing the connection via the shared history.
Yeah, and that's very much a shared history. As I said, they play in Jackie Robinson Ballpark every single day. So his legacy looms large. And if you get a chance to visit the stadium, there's a quote-unquote museum of sorts just around the stadium with various signage and facts and photos of Jackie Robinson and his time in Daytona. And one of the cool aspects of that promo is that I believe his name was George Bates, but he was the bat boy in 1946. This man named George Bates was a kid in 1946 and was a bat boy in Daytona when Jackie Robinson was on the team. He's going to serve as the honorary bat boy on Saturday. 71 years later, he's going to be at the ballpark, and he has that direct connection to 1946 and seeing Jackie Robinson back then. Just a little aside, but I think those things are very cool, and I like when teams go the extra mile with those sort of details.
And they're not going to be the only ones doing like a Jackie Robinson promo this weekend. One is Memphis that we talked about, you and I, before we went on. They're going to be wearing Jackie Robinson uniforms with kind of like a silhouette involved. They'll be wearing the 42, but it's not just that they're going to be involved in terms of the legacy of African Americans for this Jackie Robinson celebration. What else are they going to be kind of doing?
Yeah, I mean, the jerseys are great. Go on Twitter. I tweeted it at Ben's Biz. Of course, the Memphis Redbirds tweeted it, Facebook, whatever. The Jackie Robinson jerseys they're wearing are great, really unique, and the best I've seen in the minors.
Is there like a script that this is made out of? I mean, what you can see his silhouette behind the Memphis, and it makes up most of the shirt, but what kind of makes up those dots? Do you know? I can't.
I'm not sure exactly, but they use this sublimated jersey technology. So Robinson's face is really integrated into the jersey itself with Memphis overlaid atop of it. Really appealing design. And yes, also on Saturday, as they celebrate Jackie Robinson, the Redbirds are hosting a forum featuring members of the Memphis 13 who first integrated Memphis schools in 1961 when they were mostly first graders. And Sam and I were talking about this earlier. It's just amazing that that's not that far back in American history. And I think we need to be reminded that from time to time, that in 1961, these first graders had to integrate a school in Memphis. And I think it'd be really interesting to learn their stories and their experiences, how it affected them as kids, and where they are now, and get some more background on that. But a really cool thing for a minor league team to do is host an event like that at the ballpark. People from the Memphis 13 who integrated the schools.
And to show you just how difficult of a climb it was even to get to that point in American history, Brown v. Board of Education was in 1954. So it wasn't until 7 years later that those kids did that. So if you're in the Memphis area, those are people that all of us in society owe a lot to, and it's a really, really cool event that the Redbirds are putting on. And some really great jerseys as well, which Ben mentioned are up on his Twitter, and you can find them on the Memphis Redbirds as well. The week is certainly not just about honoring Jackie Robinson. We got a lot of stuff that is minor league classic promo related. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp on April 13th will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of Converse's Chuck Taylor shoes. If you're named Chuck or if you're named Taylor, you get in free. I don't recall a promo this specific about like one article of clothing. Do you know more about this, Ben? Is there a connection between Jacksonville and Chuck Taylor's?
I don't. I just threw it in the column as an aside. And
I saw it and I had to ask about it. Yeah,
basically what you said is what I know. Conversely, you could ask the team if you want to know more.
Nice job.
That one.
He's in mid-season form in week number one.
That was a shoe-in for pun of the year. Got tongues wagging over here.
Oh my God, it's still going. Mid-season form, week number 1. Sam, fire away.
I was just trying to see how other puns we could lace together. I mean, like that. So that one celebrating an anniversary 100 years ago. One we also have to get on just because it's so in the news. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody in our office has been talking about it all week. I don't know about in the Denver bureau, Tyler, but I'm sure you all are discussing it very heavily out there.
Well, I am taking a United flight tomorrow, if that's what you're talking about. So, yep, little terrified.
Yeah. So everybody knows about the United fiasco. Fort Myers Miracle are kind of taking advantage of that, hopping on the news like every other minor league team loves to do. What are they exactly doing with this, Ben?
Well, the Miracle have always been a team that jump immediately on current events. In some cases, I believe, not even staging a promo, just announcing they will and getting the attention. I'm thinking of Marco Rubio water bottle night. Look it up. I don't think they ever staged Marco Rubio water bottle night. I'm the only one who cares. But listen, Miracle, you're gonna announce a promotion, even if it's the off season. You got to do it. And
follow through with this. Yeah,
follow
that's
through.
true.
I want in the year 2017 Marco Rubio water bottle night because it didn't happen.
Marco
Anyway.
Rubio, you know what they should do now is they should do the fact that Marco Rubio retweeted that annoying tweet that's been going around, the kid trying to get 18 million retweets to get a free year of chicken nuggets from Wendy's. That should be the new. That should be the 2017 version of water bottle night. Listen up,
Something like
Miracle.
that. Yeah, listen up, man. That kid needs his nugs. You need to stage promotions when you announce them. But they are staging this promotion in, I don't want to say honor, but in honor of this PR disaster that United experienced at this upcoming homestand for the Miracle, April 17th to 20th. Anyone who presents a United boarding pass at the box office of a Fort Myers Miracle game gets in at half priced, and they guarantee that you will have a seat in the ballpark. They never overbook. So kudos to the Miracle for jumping right on that, going viral with a promotion that costs literally $0 to stage, gets them a lot of attention, and plays on a current event. And that's all I got.
Pretty good stuff. April 15th, the Hickory Crawdads will play a scheduled doubleheader to allow players and staff to have Easter Sunday off. And in honor of their 25th anniversary, they'll have a limited number of tickets available for $2.50. The West Virginia Power and the Lexington Legends will play their first Hatfield and McCoy's game coming up on the 15th as well. In case you're a human being, for some reason, who has wondered what Plaxico Burress is up to these days, you can check him out on NFL Night at the Trenton Thunder coming up on April 18th. We are finally into a full week of promos, and it's so exciting.
It's
what Plax does now.
Well, what you find out in Trenton,
Guess we'll
April
find
18th.
Ask him yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, can do that. Makes sense. So that'll do it for this week's edition of Promo Preview. But more to discuss with Benjamin Hill, and there is Ballpark News. Ballpark News never stops, and we'll get to this because we have an exciting item that I want to finish on that we'll talk about that's more Ben-centric. But there is some Ballpark News. Augusta is still getting the ball rolling on what could be a new home for the Green Jackets, Ben.
Yeah, construction is underway on their new ballpark. It's part of a development project called Project Jackson. It will locate the team across the river and in South Carolina. So technically a relocation. They'll be going from Augusta in Georgia to North Augusta in South Carolina. Construction is underway. And if all goes according to plan, that ballpark will open in 2018. It would be the only ballpark that opens in 2018 if all goes according to plan. But having gone from El Paso to Biloxi to Hartford in consecutive seasons and various construction delays, I'm not saying anything's going to go wrong with Augusta, but that is a very tight timeline, and I for one, I'm not going to go around saying, for sure right now, but they're on pace. That's what they want to do, and I'm rooting for it, a new ballpark in Augusta. And I believe I'm going to write a column featuring that information and more tomorrow to run on Friday. I just cannot be stopped. When information comes through, I disseminate it.
And there's one last thing Tyler kind of teased there that is very Ben-centric, in that Topps is going to be releasing the first image in your Ben's Biz card set.
Yeah, the Topps Pro Debut set. It's set to premiere, hit the streets on May 24th. This is my career highlight. I've curated a 15-card set within this Topps set. And it features the people and places and things that I chronicle on my road trips. So I don't want to give anything away, but fans and food items and architectural quirks are getting their own baseball cards. I'm featured in one card throwing out a roll of toilet paper as a first pitch at a Wisconsin Timber Rattlers game, and I believe that image, as we talk right now, it has not been debuted, but it should be appearing very shortly on Topps social media, at Topps with 2 P's, of course, on their Facebook page. And there's going to be 15 Ben's Biz themed cards, and I'm overjoyed by this. I mean, I finally made it.
Yeah, I know it won't be in there. I know it won't be in there. Me and Ben hanging out in Colorado, obviously.
No.
Anyway, please.
That'll be in like his 2019 set.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
if you agree to it, if you waive your rights to be on a baseball card.
Yeah, see if it
Yeah,
happens.
I'd love to feature. I'd love to give you, Sam and Tyler, a. I'm acting like now I'm the king of baseball cards, and
Ben bought Topps cards. Actually, is what we're learning now.
But the show before the show, I would love to see you guys get your own baseball cards. I can be in a little insert photo in the bottom corner, but it would be dedicated to you. This podcast has taken off. I see it in my inbox every day. People getting in touch with me, not because they read my stuff, but please read my stuff, but because they hear me on this show and they love Sam and Tyler, and they even love me. And thank you for listening to all you out there. Get in touch with me and check out my baseball cards.
Hey, we agree with all that. And you can find Ben on Twitter. He is at Ben's Biz. You can get in touch. bensbiz.mlblogs.com is the blog if you want to be a designated eater. You still looking for designated eaters? You got a bunch of road trips and a bunch of ballparks.
Well, here's the thing. I put a deadline on looking for designated eaters. Some places I got as many as half dozen submissions for certain locations. Other locations, such as basically every team in the Pioneer League, I got no submissions. So I'll be writing a post shortly announcing designated eaters in all the applicable locales where I have one, and then make it first come, first serve from there for any openings that have yet to be filled. So look for that on the blog. And just keep on trucking. It's baseball season now. I got to say, guys, this is my 3rd podcast taping of the day, but I'm glad to close it out with you.
Oh, geez.
I'm a celebrity.
The OGs.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, but, talking to you guys is like coming home.
Excuse us, Mr. Fancy.
I just gave you a compliment, and you said excuse us.
I'm still thinking about the fact that the 2 ballparks you haven't visited are the 2 closest to me. That's all I'm thinking about, Ben. So that's what it comes back to every week for me. The heartbreak that I feel. But it's okay.
I know, Tal.
That's all. Ben's on Twitter. Ben's Biz on Twitter, and bensbiz.mlblog.com is the blog. Check out Promo Preview, which returns for the 2017 season. We got the first edition of that up on the site right now. Batting around and all that type of news and information as well for ballpark developments and all other things in the world of minor league baseball business. And Ben, always our favorite conversation of the week, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Really? I'm the favorite?
How could you not be?
All right,
Ben Hill,
you.
man.
All right, thank you.
Jose Trevino from the Texas Rangers and Benjamin Hill, our guests this week, and a big thanks to both of those guys as the first full week of minor league baseball is in the books in 2017, and that means we're now full-fledged into the MILB TV schedule. Sam, who are you watching this week?
Yeah, so I've got my eye on a doubleheader this Saturday. Lehigh Valley is going to Pawtucket for a doubleheader. Starts at 1:35. I talked about J.P. Crawford at the beginning of the show today. And, so now that would be a chance to see just how far along is he in his improvements or how much is he struggling. But beyond that, I mean, that Lehigh Valley lineup, we talked about that last week, is just absolutely loaded. Roman Quinn, Jorge Alfaro, Dylan Cousins, Rhys Hoskins, Nick Williams, and then add on J.P. Crawford to that. That's always going to be a fun lineup to watch, regardless of who they're playing. The fact that they're doing a double dip in Pawtucket this weekend makes it all the more exciting. There aren't probables out yet for that twin bill, but I think Kyle Kendrick is the only one who has actually been put on the schedule, and he's obviously been a major leaguer at certain points in his career. So seeing how that lineup goes against somebody who with that type of experience could certainly be exciting. I know it's supposed to be what looks like a nice weekend in Philadelphia this weekend in Eastern Pennsylvania for people who are more apt to watch that type of matchup. But if you get a chance, bring the tablet out with you, sneak in some at-bats, that kind of thing, because these are guys who are knocking on the doorstep and as a lineup might be one of the best in the minors.
This is just a chance for me to tell you how scorching hot Cody Bellinger has been at the plate to start the season through his first 6 games. Again, we're recording on Wednesday. 417, 440, 667 is the slash line for Cody Bellinger. He and the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers will be on the road in Tennessee this weekend. They will finish a series in Nashville on Friday. They'll open a series in Memphis on Saturday, so 2 great ballparks for you to watch a MILB TV game from. But Cody Bellinger is one of the real fun prospects in minor league baseball right now, and one of the guys that, depending on how things shake out at the major league level, not sure how long we're going to be able to see Cody Bellinger on MILB TV and not on MLB TV, so you might as well watch him while you get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Before we actually wrap up, quick,
yes.
There's one thing I just wanted to point out to everybody listening.
There's one thing I wanted to point out, too. Happy birthday, Sam.
Well, that's late now.
It was Sam's birthday last week. I didn't even know, and I didn't wish him a happy birthday, and now I forgot until the last segment of this one. Happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you. Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, sorry.
I'm officially Pudge Fisk age. That's the way I put it. And that's just waving life fair. Just stay fair, life. Just stay. Anyway.
That works.
So, yeah, now 27. But for anybody, you all listened to the Jose Trevino interview. I just wanted to publicly thank Tyler for carrying that one. You may have heard I was having some internet issues in the middle of that. So that was definitely a Tyler-heavy interview. Which is definitely a good thing, not a bad.
Which is the worst kind of interview.
No, it was good. It was really good. You're very good at getting actual anecdotes out of guys. I was having such bad internet issues that when he said James Dykstra as a pitcher he was excited about, I thought he was saying me, which, again, we are not related. And I don't think Jose Trevino has ever seen me throw my 55-mile-an-hour fastball, so he was definitely wouldn't have been talking about me. So just publicly wanted to thank Tyler for carrying that, and it was definitely a good interview. Glad you guys could hear from him, especially you Rangers fans.
Yeah, and again, a big thanks to Jose Trevino for joining us and giving us a glimpse as to what life is like on the bus on the way to Springfield, which I know everybody has wondered about. So that'll do it for the 105th episode of the Show Before the Show podcast. Again, you can find us at milb.com/podcast, on iTunes, on the Stitcher app. Download the MILB First Pitch app and give us a rating and a review on that as well. Some really cool stuff. We got some new features for that this year, some team-specific stuff, which is really cool. So you can check that out. Set your favorite teams, set game alerts. You can get news. You can follow all of our articles, all that type of stuff at the MILB First Pitch app. And that'll do it for this week's edition of the show. Until next week, you get to watch a full week of baseball at every possible level, except for short season teams, I guess. But now we're just getting into the weeds and things because I never know how to end a podcast without making it really awkward toward the end.
Just enjoy your week, everybody.
Enjoy your week, everybody. Talk to you next week.